is the greatest player of all time? Some people say it's Patrick Mahomes. Some people say it's Peyton Manning. But there's a guy who came from Michigan who is seen as skinny, overrated, and slow, and even ugly in some people. He was the most overrated player in college, and when he went to the NFL, he was a backup quarterback. And some people thought he was just gonna be those guys we see for 2 years and then never to be seen again. But this player will become one of the greatest players of all time. He will become an 18-time Pro Bowler, 2-time MVP, and a 7-time Super Bowl champ. This player would change the whole NFL forever. This player is Tom Brady. He defied all the odds of being a backup quarterback, being a skinny kid coming from Michigan, being the 7th round draft pick, and winning a Super Bowl. He is the greatest to ever do it. But what if he never played football? How much would the league change? How much would people's career change? As we're about to find out, a lot. This video took me forever to make. I have no life right now. Hit the like button and subscribe. I'm homeless, Beat a brokey out, Donate today by hitting those like buttons. So we're gonna go to the 2000 draft, and Tom Brady gets replaced by Tom Hanks. We're gonna go to the next season, 2001, and Drew Bledsoe still gets injured, and Tom Hanks is terrible. So who's surprising? Do I even need to see the record? Nope, because he sucks. So that means the tough game never happens. So yippee! So that means that the Las Vegas Raiders actually make the Super Bowl. Well, yay for them! They take Jerry Rice and all those other I don't even know their names too. Goes to the Super Bowl and goes up against the Rams. This becomes one of the explosive Super Bowls in all time. And the Rams have just too good an offense to lose, and they win their first Super Bowl in history as the Raiders keep choking it up. 2002 draft, the Patriots go 6-10, and they end up drafting Chris Lewis. A bust. Not Ray Lewis. To the 2003 season, Drew Bledsoe gets cooked and goes 6-10, as the Packers end up going to the NFC Championship game and going 11-5. Unfortunately, they end up going against the Buccaneers, and since Brett Favre has arthritis, he ends up getting 5 interceptions, and the Buccaneers end up still winning the Super Bowl. Now, Bill Belichick is begging Robert Kraft to get him a quarterback, and he finally budges and gets Sammy Watkins. Unfortunately, the Patriots actually have a winning season for once and go 10-7, and they end up going to the playoffs and go to the wild card against the Broncos. They get cooked, but the Broncos get cooked by the Colts because, the Broncos suck and they end up choking. The Colts end up going up against the Ravens, and Peyton Manning has an all-time game going for 5 touchdowns and 1 INT to go to the Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately for the Panthers, they'll never see a Super Bowl in their lifetime again because Peyton Manning goes off that game, and he ends up winning Super Bowl MVP with 5 touchdowns and 0 INTs, and went for 300 yards. Now to the 2004 draft. Nothing happens in the draft, and we're gonna go to the season as the Patriots suck, and the Steelers end up still going 15-1 as they end up going against the Colts in the AFC Championship game. Since that game was actually snowing, since it's still playing the Steelers arena, and the Steelers run game is dominant, and the Colts pass rush is just like Tom Brady if he were ever to play D-line. So they end up beating the Colts and go up against Donovan McNabb. Unfortunately for Donovan McNabb, the pressure is way too much, and Tony Pollard ends up getting 2 INTs to seal the game, and Ben Roethlisberger is the first rookie to win a Super Bowl. Offseason, as Bill Belichick is begging Robert Kraft to get him a quarterback, as the last one they got was a bust, and to take Drew Bledsoe to China. So he does a version of China in the Browns. And the quarterback that they get,
24th selection in the 2005 Aaron Rodgers, quarterback, California.
Yes, the Packers actually get a future quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Can he be the next Tom Brady? Who knows? As this is Bill Belichick's last year to prove something that he can win, and they go 7-9. He's about to get his ass fired. Anyways, before we go to the offseason, the Steelers end up still winning the Super Bowl and going back to back. Ben Roethlisberger, can he be the next Tom Brady? Spoiler alert, no, he hasn't been in another Super Bowl. Bill Belichick, on the other hand, in the offseason, he gets fired. I'm sorry, he just gets fired. No winning record except for 2004 in Canada Drew Bledsoe. So he gets fired and ends up going to a new franchise in, drumroll please, the Houston Texans. He ain't gonna win nothing. Anyways, the Patriots are still not gonna win anything because they get Coach Wells, not the guy from Mr. Beast, the other guy from Notre Dame. 2006 draft, nothing happens. The Texans actually have a decent record in 8-8, not a winning record. The Patriots actually have a decent record going 11-5, but since the Colts are just way better than them and more experienced, they end up destroying them, and they still end up winning the Super Bowl. Now in the 2007 draft, nothing happens, but now to the season as Bill Belichick finally has a winning season with the Texans and go 11-5. For the Patriots with Coach Wells end up having a winning season at 13-3. And now to the playoffs as it's the Texans versus Colts. Unfortunately for the Texans, the Colts are way more experienced than the Texans. And in the championship game, it's the Colts versus Patriots. The Patriots end up getting revenge on the Colts and going to the Super Bowl against the Giants. Unfortunately for the Giants, as Aaron Rodgers is able to move in the pocket, as Tom Brady in that Super Bowl did not move in the pocket. So this means that the Patriots end up winning the Super Bowl as Aaron Rodgers can move in the pocket. The Patriots are your 2007 Super Bowl champs, and now to the 2008 draft as nothing happens in the draft. And now to the season as the Texans end up going 10-6, as this season was the season that Tom Brady gets injured, but since Aaron Rodgers is mobile, the Patriots end up going 14-2, and they end up beating the Steelers to win the Super Bowl. Now to the 2010 draft, and a lot happens in this draft as the Packers need a quarterback as Brett Favre retires, and
10 NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select Tim Tebow, quarterback, Florida.
Tebow. Now we'll go to the season and the Packers go 7-9. I'm not even gonna talk about that. The playoffs, as it is the Patriots versus the Texans. Bill Belichick going up against his former team in the Patriots, and Coach Rose from Notre Dame ends up going up against Bill Belichick. Can he outcoach Bill Belichick? And Aaron Rodgers ends up going up against his former coach in Bill Belichick. This is just a crazy game. Unfortunately for the Patriots, and they end up having that 3-beat fatigue after going back-to-back Super Bowls, and the Texans defense is able to tire out this Patriots team like crazy, and they end up getting the upset and beating the Patriots. Unfortunately, they go to the AFC Championship and they end up getting destroyed 31-17. The Colts end up going to the Super Bowl, but still losing to the Saints as it's still in real life, so they end up getting cooked. On to the 2010 draft, as the Broncos are in desperate need of a quarterback, and they end up not trading the pick to the 49ers, so they end up getting Colin Kaepernick. Yes, Colin Kaepernick. Can the Broncos actually save their franchise? And 49ers end up keeping Alex Smith. And now to the season, as Colin Kaepernick ends up going 8-8 with the Broncos, Patriots go 14-2, and the Texans end up going 12-4. And now to the playoffs, as it's going to be the Texans and Ravens. And since the Ravens have no offense, the Texans end up going to the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Now it's Patriots versus Texans, and unfortunately, the Patriots end up going for 4 touchdowns and 0 and going for 300 yards. And the Giants, they only go against the Giants. As unfortunately for the Giants, Aaron Rodgers can move in the pocket, and the game becomes a blowout as Aaron Rodgers goes off that game. Now to the offseason, as the Colts still end up getting Andrew Luck. That means Peyton Manning gets cut. So this time, since the Broncos can't get Peyton Manning because they already have a quarterback in Colin Kaepernick, there was a team that was so close in real life to getting him, which was the Arizona Cardinals. They were so close, but the Broncos swooped in. But this time, since the Broncos don't exist, guess who's going to get him? Yes, the Arizona Cardinals are going to get Peyton Manning. Larry Fitzgerald paired up with Peyton Manning is going to be a nasty trio. But this season, they go 14-2. And now the Broncos without Peyton Manning goes 9-7. But now to the playoffs. As it's the Ravens versus Broncos. And unfortunately for the Ravens are way too old and way too slow. And Colin Kaepernick ends up having a dominant game, going over 3,000 yards rushing. But unfortunately, in the divisional round, they get cooked by the Patriots as they win to experience. And now to the AFC Championship game, as it's the Patriots versus Texans. And unfortunately for the Patriots, the offense is just way too much for the Texas defense, and the Patriots end up going to the Super Bowl against the Arizona Cardinals as the Arizona Cardinals breezes through the NFC. And unfortunately for the Arizona Cardinals, Aaron Rodgers connects with Gronk for the winning Super Bowl touchdown, and they end up winning the Super Bowl as Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning go off in a shootout. But Aaron Rodgers comes up on top and wins the Super Bowl. Can Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl before he retires with the Cardinals? Can Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl with the Texans and try to say he could win without Tom Brady? And can Aaron Rodgers get more Super Bowls than Tom Brady? Well, we're all gonna find out in part 2. Yes, if y'all wanna see another series of this, y'all have to give me 50 likes, alright? Because I ain't gonna do another one and y'all getting 2 views and 0 likes, alright? So if y'all want this, y'all gonna give me 50 likes and I'll do a part 2. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video, and I have another video of what if Patrick Mahomes never existed. Go check that video out. Thanks for watching.